Hello, good evening, good day, everybody, and welcome to this special 60-minute episode of Ask Abhijit. We're trying to make up for the episode that we lost over the weekend. I hope everyone's doing great wherever you are in the world, whether it's day or night or evening or morning. And let's see who is there with us on the live chat before we begin. I can see Ace Photon, Hit Prajapati, Geopolitical Dubai from Indore, good day. Guest user 262, Ayush Singh, Mystic SK, Hensi Penguin, bonjour. Daksh, City Slicker, Meet Mystery, Devik, Shriyan, Sanath, MN, Hensi, Penguin again, Spurti, Utturi, Namaste, Geopolitical Dubai again, Somi Jain, Orbit and Markets, Deepika, Gaurab, Banskota, Dev, Suraj, Ullas, Bruce Wayne from Gotham City, Aditya Gaikwad, Polar Bear, Gaurish KB, Chat DSP, who says, I don't receive notifications for your channel anymore. Yes, I'm aware of the situation. That's all right. Yeah, I know. Well, thank you for letting me know. Shivadas Bhattacharji, Raghav Malhotra, Manisha Maiti, Love Travel Guru, Nutan Roshan, Somi Jain from Jaipur, and everybody else. Okay, so what all do we have? Let's take this question from Ayush first of all. Please take a look at the Indo-France deal on the jet engine that's happened and explain in detail. Mithil Modi is also there, Gaurab from Sydney, Chirag Raj, and so on. So now, what's this Indo-France deal on the jet engine? So we still don't have the details, the contours of the deal. What exactly is the deal? The Defense Minister, Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, the Raksha Mantri, had tweeted about this a while ago that we're going to be making jet engines in India. And we're going to, looks like we're going to tie up with Safran, which is the French company, which was earlier called SNECMA. And it looks like, from what one hears, that there's going to be complete transfer of technology of the jet engine, all of it, end to end, and the manufacturing will happen in India. That's what one hears, but we still don't have an official statement, statement with the full contours of the deal. So we don't know for sure as of yet. I'm not sure if it has been approved at the highest level and it has been given the go-ahead from both sides, but it looks like we are very close to this deal. So it's still a work in progress. Once we have more information, we can look into that. But it looks like the deal, which is more or less almost finalized, but not quite finalized, it's about the production of a new series of jet engines, which is going to be a collaboration between India and France. From France, we'll have SNECMA, Safran, and from India, we will probably have DRDO, probably. And the production will happen in India and the co-development and so on. And this will be used for the upcoming 5th generation fighter plane of India and possibly even the Tejas. Possibly. I'm not sure. We'll have to look into that. So we'll see about that. Now next. Geopolitical Dubai says, how do you see Quad's future now? Well, let's see how it goes. You see, there's supposed to be a Quad summit in India in the coming weeks. Sometime in the coming couple of months, maybe September, maybe this month, maybe October, somewhere on the horizon, we have this upcoming Quad summit. The question is, will this summit go ahead? Will the great president of the United States, Shri Donald Trump Ji, will he come to India? I think that is going to be a great indicator of the future of the Quad. I think the way the US is going hammer and tongs after India and the kind of statements that Trump's minions like Pete Navarro and various other minions are making, it looks like the attitude towards India is very hostile right now. And if their attitude towards India is super hostile, I don't see really a viable future for the Quad. And considering the events that have happened in China the past couple of days, Mr. Modi meeting with Mr. Xi and Mr. Putin. And it looks like there's been a reset of some kind between India and China to some extent. There's still major issues to work through. But it looks like Mr. Modi is signaling to the US that, you know what, we have options, we have alternatives. And if this is the attitude you're going to show, then we will not pick up your phone calls and I'll go and talk with Mr. Putin and Mr. Xi. So I think the future of the Quad is kind of shaky right now. It's on shaky ground. And depending on how the US behaves the next few weeks, the Quad may either continue in some shape or form, or it may dissolve. And instead of a Quad, it may become a trilateral between the US, Australia, and Japan, which defeats the purpose of the Quad. Without India, there's no Quad. So I think the future is very 50-50 right now, very shaky. for the Quad. MK says, was the early British Parliament similar to the Roman Senate? In both systems, power was distributed among the elites. No, it was very different from the Senate. See, in the Roman Senate, the full power lay with the Senate. In Rome, when you had the Senate during the Roman Republic period. See, Rome had 3 periods: the Roman Kingdom, the Roman Republic, and the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire starts with Augustus, right? Julius Caesar's adoptive heir. So, during the Roman Republic period, the Senate had all the power in Rome. And there was no king or emperor in Rome. All the power was vested in the Senate. That bunch of old guys wearing togas who would discuss what happens and discuss the big issues of the day and make decisions which would be implemented. So the Senate was all powerful. In the British Parliament was kind of a compromise between the king and the nobles, right? Between the crown and the nobles. So in the UK, you still had the supremacy, the majesty of the crown, and some power lay with Parliament. So it was kind of a compromise, right? But the majority of the power still lay with the crown. The crown could do things that the Parliament could not, and the Parliament could not veto the crown, mostly. Some things they would allow it to slide, but over time the Parliament became more and more powerful. Today it is said that the UK crown is a figurehead, but 100 years ago it was different. 200 years ago it was very different. So over time the British Parliament became more and more powerful. But historically, if you see, for the majority of the time the Parliament existed in the UK, in Britain, it was nowhere as powerful as the Senate in Rome. Genuine Beatbox says, Raffael Fighter Jets, we bought those, also not 100% technology transfer. Yeah, well, you see, transfer of technology is very expensive. No nation is willing to give up its technology just for a couple of $1 billion, maybe $10 billion or whatever it is. You've got to pay. See, technology is developed over decades. And the price, and if you have spent decades, like 40, 50, 60 years developing a certain piece of technology, you're going to put a very heavy price on that. It's not like you're going to the market buying tomatoes and potatoes. This is a whole different thing. And we bought how many? 24, 26 Rafales? If we had given an order for 200 Rafales, well, they would have shifted the whole production line to India and probably given the whole technology transfer to India. If you buy a small number of Rafale jets, well, then it doesn't work. And so that's how it goes. You are right that when we bought the Rafale jets, we did not get the full transfer of technology. And when it comes to the Rafale, you see, it's not one potato. It's got so many different components that are manufactured by different companies, and you've got to deal with each of these companies individually. You can, of course, do it through the French government in case the price is high enough. Because, see, when it comes to the Rafale, the jet engines are manufactured by Safran. The ejection seat is probably manufactured by Baker and whatever it is, the UK company, and so much more. So, it's impossible to get a full technology transfer. But the main piece that we are looking for is the jet engine. So that's what the talk is about these days. Shankar Mahadevan says that Jake Sullivan has said that Trump's business is the reason behind the attack on us. Jacobabad Airbase where we hit during Operation Sindoor. Jake Sullivan, have you watched my geostrategy episodes which I have discontinued because of the shadow ban on my channel? I have gone into excruciating detail about the kind of business deals Trump has in Pakistan. He is very heavily personally invested in Pakistan. Okay? That's the deal. That's why he is so pro-Pakistan. That's why the US regime, the Trump regime, is so pro-Pakistan. And this is going to continue. And he has been allowed to do this because he has kissed the ring and the deep state has approved this. So yeah, Trump is personally invested in Pakistan. He wants to extract $50 trillion worth of oil and gas and raw earth materials from Pakistan. The Pakistanis are willing to sell off their country to Trump as long as as long as the US supports Pakistan. So, yeah. MK says, is history repeating itself? Europe going through Yamnaya 2.0 and Constantinisation 2.0, ongoing genetic and religious re-engineering through demographic, through illegal immigration. You see, if Brussels is engineering the immigration, it's no longer really illegal. the Parliament of the UK. Excuse me. Okay, let's take this question again. One second, let me see. So everyone is saying the video is blurred, is it? Is the video blurred? Please let me know on the live chat is the video is blurry, sound is lagging, everything is lagging. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Give me a second, I'll have to fix this. Okay, looks like something is blurred. Give me a second, please. All right, I apologize for that problem. I hope that we are better now. Please do let me know if it's fine now. Yeah, I think it's fine now. Well, thank you for letting me know. So coming back to the question, is history repeating itself? Is Europe going through Yamnaya 2.0 and Constantinisation 2.0, ongoing genetic and religious reengineering through illegal immigration? First of all, the immigration that's happening in Europe is not illegal. It is being mandated by Brussels. See, Europe is ruled from Brussels. Brussels is the seat of power of the European Union. And the government, I mean, the bureaucrats who rule Europe from Brussels, they have mandated that every EU country should bring in a certain number of immigrants from specific countries every year. Every nation has a quota of immigrants or refugees or whatever they have to allow in their country every year. Well, if that's the case, it's no longer illegal. It is legal. It is being mandated from the top, from the rulers of Europe who are not democratically elected. So we're definitely seeing genetic, demographic, religious re-engineering of Europe through forcible, through the countries being forced to accept immigrants. That is what's going on. And you could say, well, it's not Yamnaya 2.0 because Yamnaya was an invasion that was done by horsemen. It was an invasion through the borders of whatever communities existed at the time. This is different. This is being done bureaucratically. So it's not that sort of invasion. It's a bureaucratically engineered invasion. Constantinization 2.0, yeah, Constantinization, by that you refer to the forcible Christianization of Europe, which was done through force, through brutality. Well, once again, maybe a new religion is being brought into Europe. And it's not probably being done through force. It's just being done through migration. So it's a different way of doing the same thing, of achieving the same objective in Europe. Pratardana says, Navarro's comments about Brahmins make me think this Harvard DNA lab is CIA, etc. program as well. So yeah, this individual, Trump's minion, Navarro, Pete Navarro, the guy who was in jail this time last year. This time last year, the guy was in jail. He's a convicted felon. That's the kind of individual that Trump has brought to, elevated to his minionship. So Navarro went, he has been ranting against India multiple times on American national television. And the most recent rant is about Brahmins. He's saying that the Brahmins in India are profiting from Russian oil, from Putin's oil. And that's how the Brahmins are marginalizing and oppressing the rest of Indians. And they are profiting from Putin's oil and funding Putin's war in Ukraine. Essentially, that's what he's saying. He's trying to create trying to engineer some kind of caste divide in India, right? And Indians have this massive inferiority complex. When a white man says something, they will start dancing on the top of the roofs. But yes, white man said this, so it must be true. And Navarro is not even really a white man. He's a Latino. Anyhow, he's white enough for Indians, isn't he? So the Americans have been playing this game for a very long time, for decades. They've been trying to create and widen various kinds of divisions in India, fissures in India, through various NGOs, through university professors and so on. The entire academic system has been hijacked by the leftists in India. And Indian leftists are not like Chinese leftist communists who are highly patriotic. Indian leftists are mercenaries. They will work for the highest power, for the highest bidder, right? They essentially will. I'm not naming anybody, by the way. Okay, I'm not naming anybody. I'm sure there are good leftists also, but it's apparent. It's clear that many Indian leftists are up for hire, and they have been working. If you look at various Indian academic departments, humanities departments, I'm sure some are great, but many of them, they will write. The only research that comes out of these departments, the research papers, is all about caste. So they are trying to create this huge narrative for decades that India is ridden by caste wars and all that. And they're trying to actually make the students believe it. And generations of students have grown up believing all this nonsense. So the Americans have created the groundwork for what Navarro is now trying to achieve of creating divisions in India. And maybe weaponizing those divisions. So all of this is DNA labs, Harvard, CIA, it's all interconnected, and that's what they're trying to do. The end objective is to balkanize India. It's to fragment and fracture India so that India can never achieve its potential. That's the objective. The Americans are pretty overt now on what they're trying to do. The objective is no longer possibly to contain India, it's to fragment India, balkanize India. Nirbhai says, how India's capture of Kailāśa heights during conflict in 2020 forced PLA to come to the negotiating table. Well, I haven't looked into the tactical events of what happened in 2020. I look at a different. See, when it comes to a conflict, there are different ways of looking at it, different lenses. You can look at from a very microscopic perspective. What happened? Those 20 meters, these 2 kilometers. What happened? This mountain peak or this hilltop. Who captured this? The finger 1, finger 2, finger 3 of Pangong Lake. What is happening there? Those 300 meters. Who's there? 200 meters here. What's there? That's one way of looking at it. That's how the army looks at it. The army looks at it from a tactical perspective and also from a strategic perspective. But this is a tactical perspective. The way I look at conflicts is from a different perspective, through a different lens. I look at objectives. I look at agendas. I look at what is this guy's national interest, what is this guy's national interest, what does each party want, who has the higher ground, who has the advantage, what is the long-term objective, all of that. So I don't know what exactly happened, Kailāśa Heights, this hilltop we captured and what happened. But yeah, see, the basic principle in the military domain is that whoever has the higher ground has the advantage. Okay, so if you have a higher ground and you're going to fight with someone, then your opponent will have to come and fight you. He'll have to come upwards and spend more energy, while you can conserve energy and shoot downwards. So obviously that will give you an advantage, and that is the deal. Okay, next question. Karthikeya says, you said a military coup will never happen. It not last. I said it will never happen. It won't ever succeed in India. That's what I said. What are the reasons for it? Is there a possibility of a regime change in India by foreign powers? Okay, so now if you ask me what are the reasons why a regime change, why a coup can never happen in India. See, there are I don't remember the exact specific details of the three conditions that Edward Luttwak put forth in his book. One is that, see, one of the conditions, there are three conditions that need to be that need to be present in a country for a coup to ever succeed. If those three conditions aren't present in the country, then a coup can never succeed. Firstly, the country should be dominated by a single ethnic group and a single linguistic group. For example, China. The entire country is dominated by the Han Chinese, and there's one primary language which dominates the whole thing. There are many other so-called ethnic groups in China, not so-called actual ethnic groups, but those are marginalized and small in number. Right? So there's only one ethnic group in China, the Han Chinese, and there's only one linguistic group in China, more or less. So that is the first condition. In India, you have you have so many different. India is so diverse. We are one ethnicity, Indians, but we look up. If you look at how Indians see themselves, the truth is that Indians prioritize their sub-national identity more than the national identity. I am Bengali, I am Assamese, I am Tamil, I am Punjabi, I'm Haryanavi, I'm Maharashtrian, I'm Gujarati, I am Andhra, I'm whatever. Indians always prioritize their sub-national identity over their national identity, always. There are very few of them who actually, truly inside their heart believe we are Indians first. And many people will say, will in public say, no, it is not like that. But the truth we all know. So we prioritize our regional and linguistic identity over our national identity. In a country like that, a coup can never succeed. Secondly, the second condition is that for a coup to succeed in a country, there needs to be a huge divide between the elites and the downtrodden. Huge divide in terms of means. So the elites must be living in walled gardens with all the privilege in the world, and the common people must be living in abject poverty. That's what you see typically in African nations. That's what you see in nations where there is a lot of inequality. So the elites have all the power, and the common people have no power. They're completely helpless, and they're typically extremely poor. Well, India is indeed a poor country for sure if you look at GDP per capita. Yeah, that is true. But if you look at the Gini coefficient, the inequality index, India is the world's fourth least unequal country. It's not number one in the least unequal countries, but it's number 4 in the least unequal countries. Unequal countries, inequality. So India is one of the most egalitarian countries in the world. And that's why, once again, a regime change operation a coup can never succeed in India. And the third thing, I don't remember it right now, but you can look up the book by Edward Luttwak. So there are reasons there are very specific conditions that need to be satisfied for a coup to ever succeed in a country, and India is not one of those countries. Regime change operation is a whole different thing. That can actually happen if the groundwork is laid over many years, and probably it is being laid for many years by the United States in India to conduct a regime change operation in India. Maybe they will try and attempt this in the next year or two. It's possible. The Americans. Okay, Amisha says, can we trust China? It can be a Nehru moment for Modi. You cannot trust China. You cannot trust anybody. But you can trust them to prioritize their own national interests. And if you know what their national interest is, you know what they want. Now, we have to understand that Nehruji and Modiji are different people. Mr. Modiji is not Shri Nehruji. Okay? Modiji is not Nehruji. So that is, well, you see, nobody can be as magnificent as Shri Nehruji, right? So Modiji is not Nehruji. So I think we can rest assured that we are in good hands. But yeah, China, we can work with China, but you always have to keep double checking everything. That essentially applies to every other country. In the past, our foreign policy was extremely naive, and that is why we faced the situations that we faced with China, right? Okay. Next, Mahidhar KVS says Indian immigrants are contributing more to the Western economies compared to Chinese immigrants. Is it a question? It's a question. But Westerners love Chinese more than Indians. Is there a black pill element to this or soft power issue? There's nothing to do with soft power. The reason why the West hates India right now is that India is daring to stand up and try and become a great power. India is right now the 4th largest economy. No, it can no longer be ignored. India is soon going to leapfrog the number 3 economy and become the third largest economy. We have gone ahead of the UK, gone ahead of Germany. We will soon go ahead of Japan. We'll be number 3. All the other white countries, European countries will be behind us. That infuriates these people. That infuriates the West. How dare you brown folks who we had almost destroyed, how dare you not die? How did you manage to survive? How dare you stand up again? Right? They don't care what you contribute to their economy. Now, why this approach towards Indians as opposed to the Chinese? Because they ruled India, they didn't rule China. They ruled India, and every country they ruled has been destroyed thoroughly, culturally, economically, civilizationally, in every way. Every country has been balkanized. Look at Africa. Look at the map of Africa. You have straight lines across Africa. The original shapes of the empires and kingdoms have been wiped out. No one even remembers them. That is what they've done. They've reshaped Africa in their own image. They've done the same to the Middle East. Look at the straight lines in the maps in the Middle East. When it comes to India, we also have been balkanized. They want to balkanize us further. But we have not allowed them to totally destroy us. So they hate that. The Chinese, they could not rule China. They did not have the time to rule China. By the time the age of colonization was coming to an end, the age of direct colonization. Right? So they don't see the Chinese the same way. They see the Chinese as a country, as a civilization that they have never really defeated. So then they are fine with that. But India was a defeated civilization. And how dare India rise again? That's the hatred. Okay? The Westerners have no love for China. But they tolerate the Chinese more than the Indians. They just hate the Indians because they consider Indians, first of all, as brown-skinned people to be inferior, and secondly, a defeated civilization. How dare you rise again? And how dare you be proud of India? How dare you? Only we folks have the right to be proud of ourselves. That sort of thing. It's a very deep, visceral, deep-seated hatred. It's very deep inside. MK says India and Pakistan have similar cultural backgrounds. Absolutely not. What similar cultural backgrounds? Where, sir? Where do we have similar cultural backgrounds? We have the same genetics. Yeah, and yeah, little bit of traditions still continue in some shape or form. The Pakistanis also, I believe that they respect their elders the way we do. I think they conduct marriage ceremonies in some ways reminiscent of the old ways, despite the Islamic angle. Because in Pakistan also, I suppose the brides wear bright red colors and all that. If I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong in that also. I don't know. So many of the old traditions have somehow survived, but culturally, Pakistan has nothing to do with us anymore. Culturally, they are not similar to us. Background, genetic background, history, heritage, 1,000 years ago, same, sure. Culturally, completely different from India. Look at how Indians behave in the UK and look at how Pakistanis behave in the UK. Do you see the cultural difference? What are Pakistanis famous for in the UK? Do I have to use those words? Those words should not be uttered in any civilized discussion, right? So the point is, I'm just seeing the chat. Do we have any issues? No, we don't, right? Hopefully, right? Oh. Okay, people are reminding me it's not India and Pakistan, it's Iran and Pakistan. Okay, now video quality is again blurry apparently. Well, that's lovely. That's lovely. I apologize. I thought I had fixed the thing. Give me a second, please. Oh, hello, testing. 1 second, 1 second. Okay. This one. Okay, I think we are fine now. Let me just double check with the audience, with the live chat. Am I audible now? Am I visible? Yeah, I apologize for the delay. I don't know. Yeah, I think we're fine now. Okay, I apologize once again. Let me go back to what I was talking about. I remember people reminding me it's Iran, not Pakistan. Okay. So Iran and Pakistan have similar cultural backgrounds. Yet you say Pakistan could not develop its own nukes because of its own culture. Why is that? Oh, well, interesting question that you ask. Well, has Iran developed its own nukes? Has it? Well, if you have two countries which have similar cultures and similar backgrounds, and one has developed nukes, one hasn't developed nukes, then we can compare. Well, which country has developed nukes? Secondly, Pakistan, yeah, culturally, they are still not the same. They are both countries that have been converted to a foreign religion. True. Iran for almost 1,200, 1,300 years. Pakistan for the past, 500 or so years, maybe slightly longer than that, depending on how we see it. But the thing is, Pakistan is a colonized state. It's a mercenary state. It's a nation that is has been created artificially by a foreign country, and the only purpose of the existence of Pakistan is to serve foreign objectives, right? And you don't allow a nation like that to be able to develop nuclear weapons. You don't allow that. You give them nuclear weapons, you allow them to keep them, but you don't allow them to develop the know-how, the technology, all of that on their own. Look at their abysmal system, their education system. I mean, I talk about India's education system, which is terrible. I mean, look at Pakistan's education system. Look at their physics syllabus. Look at the textbooks that they have, physics textbooks. Have you seen? I had the misfortune of seeing somewhere online the first few pages of a Pakistani physics textbook. If you read what's written there, then you would understand that they can't develop their own nuclear weapons. So it's more to do not about. I have never said Pakistan. First of all, I have never said Pakistan could not develop its own nukes because of culture. I never said that. So let's not put words in someone's mouth. Okay. Pakistan is an abysmally underdeveloped country. It's a vassalized country. It's a mercenary country. It's a country that is run by a small group of dictators. It is highly unfortunate the situation Pakistan is in. It is terrible for the people of Pakistan. It has nothing to do with Pakistan culture. All right? Our friend James has returned. Cheerio, James. How are you doing, sir? How are you doing? It's always good to see you, James. It's always good to see you. James, our friend, our former colonial overlord, says that London thrives eternal, your cities decay still. Well, I remember the last time I was in London, there was garbage strewn all over the streets. I saw some bobbies, some cops eating a packet of chips and just dumping the packet of chips on the street. I saw people smoking cigarettes and snuffing the butts out on the pavement. And I saw the situation in London and other parts of England. You're talking about decay. Well, please, Sir James, please take a look at your cities and see, please take a look at what's being done to your cities and your people and your children by Pakistanis. And then compare it with India. I mean, you people destroyed India abysmally. When you people left, our life expectancy was 31. Imagine what you did to my people. Our life expectancy was 31. And see where we are today. We were beggared by you, utterly beggared. There was nothing left. Our GDP was 33% of the world's GDP when you came in. And by the time you left, it was less than 2% of the world's GDP. It's going to take us some time to get back on our feet. But now we are getting back on our feet. And that's why you people are so upset. So upset. Dear James, take care of your country, man. Do that. Take care of your women folk. Do something about the Pakistanis. Well, I think it's too late for that. It's too late for that, James. I really, some part of me feels sorry for your people. It's not their fault. I mean, look, you guys genocided us. You did whatever you did to us. It's not the fault of today's Englishmen and English women. So I kind of feel sorry for them. But maybe it's karma. Maybe you do pay the price for the sins of your ancestors. All right, James. Cheerio. Ashutosh Soni says, what does common Russian people gain from India-Russia relations and vice versa, apart from energy, defense, security? How can common Indians profit from Russian market? Well, if you manufacture things in India, if India becomes a manufacturing power, let's say we manufacture all kinds of things, watches, shoes, guns, helicopters, cars, I don't know, whatever, sell it to Russia, you'll make money. I'm sure the Russian market will be happy to, buy Indian products. So both nations benefit. Both sets of people benefit. If India doesn't become a manufacturing power, then we will simply have government-to-government relations. Then there's going to be less people-to-people connection. But if India does become a major manufacturing power, then we will have lots of trade relations which bring in people-to-people relations. How did the whole of Southeast Asia become Indianized? It started through trade, didn't it? That's how it started. Trade is a great catalyst. Trade can kickstart a lot. And then we can open up, I've been saying this for such a long time. India has the potential to become a tourism superpower. Then you can have Russians coming here. And Indians can visit Russia, right? Russia also has so many tourist destinations. So there's a lot that can be done if we get things right. Yeah. So how can a common Indian profit from the Russian market? Well, become a manufacturer. Manufacture something, export it to the Russian market. You're going to profit. That's how it goes. Harsh says, you have mentioned India is one of the least unequal countries, but I see every time our opposition targeting billionaires and mentioning inequality. You see, you have to create fake narratives, right? I mean, I don't know. I've not seen the opposition who is doing what and all that. Okay, I look at the geopolitics globally, but hypothetically, if you were in the opposition, okay, and hypothetically, if you were some hypothetical political party with hypothetical connections to a superpower, and the superpower wants to destabilize India and create the groundwork for a future regime change operation, then you create fake narratives in India through a hypothetical connection with a hypothetical political party. That's how we do it. So what do? You target the most successful people. Who are the most successful people? People who have become billionaires by succeeding. And many of these is being a billionaire a bad thing? It means you did something right. If you did it in a rotten system, maybe you took some shortcuts, perhaps. I don't know. I'm just saying, hypothetically. The thing is, India needs more billionaires. I would like 100,000 billionaires in India. I want all of you to become billionaires. What's wrong with that? So by targeting billionaires, what you're saying is that being successful is bad. Remain poor. We will worship the poor. We will worship poverty. And we hate success. So, that's what I can say about this. I will not go further into this because this is about domestic politics and I don't really talk about that. Godliness says, listening to many retired diplomats, army officers, and especially some right-wing commentators, it seems like the love Indian political thought and human resources have for the West is everlasting. It's possible. Yeah, I note what you're saying. Right? Is it surprising? Maybe it's not that surprising. I'm sure not all retired diplomats do this. I'm sure not all retired army officers do this. I'm sure not all right-wing commentators do this. But it is possible. Is it possible that many of them do it? It may perhaps be possible. See, geopolitical commentary has become an industry in India now. In 2020, it was just a small number of people. But now you have heavyweights in the Indian geopolitical commentary industry. There are two classes of these heavyweights. In Indian geopolitical commentary today, there are three classes actually. One is journalists who have rebranded themselves as geopolitical commentators. They are typically news readers. They used to read news from a teleprompter, and now they are regarded as geopolitical analysts. Because they kept on reading the same international news, foreign policy news, so they are now regarded as geopolitical commentators. That's number one. Number two is retired diplomats. Okay? And number three is retired army officers. So there are three classes of Indian geopolitical commentators. And look, you don't make money doing geopolitical commentary, right? You make money by being part of some organization somewhere, maybe hypothetically some think tank, or hypothetically some other organization which may have funding from somewhere, hypothetically perhaps. I am not naming anybody, by the way. So please don't attempt to create some controversy. I'm naming nobody. I'm saying hypotheticals. There could be. See, there are so many think tanks in the world. And so many of these think tanks hypothetically could have funding from hypothetical superpowers or whatever. So if you are hypothetically in one of these think tanks or associate, or maybe you want to become a part of a hypothetical think tank, then you may have the tendency to have a love affair with the West. So I think that should explain things. And if you are hypothetically political, I mean a journalist in so and so media outlet, hypothetical media outlet, and if that media outlet has funding from wherever, then you're going to sing those tunes. So today, geopolitical commentary in India has become noise. Absolute noise. 99.9% of it is absolute garbage. Truly. There's superficial stuff, surface level stuff, and most of it looks like it's paid commentary. Not all. Prathar Dana says, James sent rupees, lol. Well, James seems to be on a visit to India, perhaps. MK says, many one-man show empires ended after them, like Napoleon, Hitler. Will it be the case with Putin? Why doesn't Great Britain empire vassalize neighbors as any other empire does? Interesting questions. You're right. Many such empires ended after the big guy passed on or gave up power. See, like I've always said, I've been saying this for years, the critical time period in any empire's history, the most vulnerable time period, is the time of the handover. Have you seen a relay race, 100 meters relay? You hold a baton and you run 100 meters. And by the time you're reaching the 100-meter mark, your colleague is there who starts sprinting, and you have to hand the baton to the colleague. Now, while handing over the baton, if the baton falls down, you're disqualified. It's done, finished. Similarly, in an empire, when you have a great emperor and the empire is great, the critical, most vulnerable moment is the time of handover to the successor. If the succession goes wrong, if the successor is weak, if the successor is unqualified, if the successor is inept, incompetent, then everything your predecessor did is going to be wasted away, frittered away. Right? The succession is the most important thing. So, yeah, Hitler was defeated. He made too many blunders. Napoleon again himself was defeated, but somehow kind of his legacy continued for a while. Putin, so it will depend on who Mr. Putin appoints as his successor. Right now, I don't see anybody on the horizon, and maybe it's a good thing for Mr. Putin that he has not made it overt, keep it very secret. But eventually, Mr. Putin will have to hand it over to somebody, one way or the other, right? The ideal situation is that he decides when he steps down and who is the successor. And he retains some power for some time to ensure things go well. So if that goes fine, then the empire won't be destroyed. Then it will last. Then it may thrive. It may even do better. So it all depends on who comes next. Does Mr. Putin decide, or is it all left to chance, which is stupid? Why didn't Great Britain Empire vassalize neighbors like any empire does? The Great Britain Empire vassalized the whole world. So, Dark Knight says, is the accepted narrative of AQ Khan stealing nuclear tech fake, since you claim Pak doesn't have its own nukes, and the reports of Pakistan providing nuclear technology to North Korea are also fake? We have been sold all these stories, and we have swallowed them wholesale. What we know, what we have been told is that Pakistan developed a nuclear bomb. How did they develop it? Because Abdul Qadir Khan, this great Pakistani physicist, he stole some blueprints and he brought them to Pakistan. And through the blueprints, they developed nuclear weapons. Are you people kidding me? He stole a bunch of blueprints. Is your security so lax that a Pakistani nuclear scientist can steal blueprints from Netherlands or wherever? Yeah? Really? And based on the blueprints, he made nuclear weapons. Are you people kidding me? What, are we 3 years old? Do you believe this is the Mickey Mouse story? Yeah? This is a nice cover story they've made up. Pakistan providing nuclear technology to North Korea. I think it was the Chinese who may have helped North Korea with something or the other, right? And the story is that the Chinese then passed on North Korean rocket or missile designs to Pakistan. I am not sure what exactly is the situation between North Korea and Pakistan, but I don't believe for one instance, for one moment, that Pakistan developed its own nuclear technology. Nothing to do with culture. Nothing to do with culture. More to do with their education system and the abysmal quality of their technicians, engineers and scientists. Nah. So I believe this entire story is a nice cover story that gullible people have swallowed hook, line and sinker. I don't believe it. Virgo's Sagar says Navarro meant Boston Brahmins Indian equivalent. That's what some Indians are trying to now say to cover up what Navarro has said. No. In the US, they had this term called Boston Brahmins. You see, when Plymouth was founded and the pilgrims stepped on the rock of Plymouth and established the first settlement, which was not the first settlement. The first was Jamestown, by the way. But when they established Plymouth, they eventually, in a few years, established Boston in the Boston Harbor. And those were the first immigrants from England to the US. And they are the Boston Brahmins, the high-class people. That's what they say. There was a term called Boston Brahmins. It still exists, by the way. The people who are called Boston Brahmins, they still have English accents, British accents. But Navarro did not mean that. Okay, if some individuals on Indian Twitter are claiming that, then I would like to look at who is funding them. That's all I'll say. Bonjour, I joined late, says anonymous scientist. Why does the US want to start a conflict with Venezuela? What are they planning? Look, Venezuela is rich in oil. Venezuela is run by Maduro, who is anti-US. Who refuses to cave in and become a US vassal and do everything US says and sell oil as per US directives. And that's why the US is unhappy with that, and maybe they will do a coup there. Maybe they will just invade like they invaded Nicaragua, perhaps. Yeah? So the deal is that Venezuela refuses to be a US vassal. If you look at the entirety of Latin America, all the countries in Latin America, they're all US, the polite term is allies. So Venezuela refuses to be a US ally, just like Cuba. So that's why they are singled out for special treatment, you see. Sangram says China grew at 14% per year at their peak. India can't reach 8%. Why? Simple difference. Very simple. China is a dictatorship. India is a chaotic democracy. If you have a dictatorship, the same kind of dictatorship you have in China, if you have the same thing in India, India will also grow at 14% per year. If you have someone like Emperor Ashok at the helm, who you can't mess with, okay? You don't mess with Emperor Ashok. If you have somebody like that at the helm, that sort of dictatorship in India, India may even surpass what China did. But we are a democracy. Democracies are. So we can't grow like that. We should be happy with 6.5%, 7%. Yeah. Prathar Dana says, coverage of Iran-Israel war by our right-wing people opened my eyes, and now they are cleaning Trump's mess by calling it ego battle between Modi and Trump, but it's not. It is not an ego battle between Mr. Modi and Trump. There are many people, I don't know about right-wing, left-wing, that's a different story, okay? I'll not go into that direction, but many Indians are saying, and many Americans are also saying, that Modi is being stubborn. Modi is being obstinate. We know Trump is a very childish person. He's a very egoistic person. Just massage Trump's ego. Just nominate him for a Nobel Prize. Just say that, yes, Trump, you played a role in the ceasefire with Pakistan and everything is fine. Is that going to solve the problems? You see, what does Trump really want? The Nobel Prize thing and the Pakistan, the Operation Sindoor thing, it is a cover story. What Trump really wants is that India should open up its entire market to the American exports. India should apply 0% tariffs on American imports. India should open up its agricultural sector to American imports. So we should allow American agricultural imports and dairy imports into India with 0% tariffs. What will that do? Right now, people are claiming in India that the Trump tariffs are hurting India's economies, and they are putting companies out of business, and people are losing their jobs. If you do what Trump says, our entire manufacturing sector and agricultural sector will be out of business. Then what happens? It's nothing to do with ego. It's nothing to do with the Nobel Prize or accepting to massage Trump's ego that he did the ceasefire. It's nothing to do with that. That is not going to solve the problem. If that was all it took, we would have done it. But Trump wants more. He doesn't want a pound of flesh. He wants a ton of flesh. And the people who are, claiming that India should just massage Trump's ego and that's all it takes, well, either they are naive or sir, there is something else behind it. Iran-Israel war, I mean, lots of Indian so-called right-wingers also, they're like, yes, hammer Iran. What? How naive can people be? Iran is on our side. Iran is not an adversary. The last time you had a pro-US puppet regime in Iran, they were pro-Pakistan. Today's Iran government is not pro-Pakistan. They are anti-Pakistan. They don't like Pakistan. They hate Pakistan. They even bombed Pakistan a couple of years ago. The moment you have a regime change in Iran and this government falls, and you have a pro-Israel, pro-US government, it will be pro-Pakistan. And our brilliant right-wing analysts, they don't understand that. What can I say? Yuvraj Singh Shekhawat says, Arctic geopolitics rising. Where does India stand? I'm not sure India stands anywhere in the Arctic geopolitics right now. We do have 2 or 3 research stations in the Arctic, which is a good thing. So we have a toehold there. I think India should invest in icebreakers, and India should expand its footprint in the Arctic. What am I talking about? Antarctica now. India has a footprint in the Antarctica region. Well, see, when it comes to Arctic geopolitics, China is a near Arctic country. They have a way to reach the Arctic. Russia is an Arctic country, so is Canada, so is the US because Alaska. And so is Denmark because of Greenland. But India is nowhere near the Arctic. So if India wants to become involved in Arctic geopolitics, we have to do it by partnering with Russia. Not with the US, Canada or Denmark, with Russia. So another reason for us to partner with Russia. But India doesn't stand too much, really anywhere in Arctic geopolitics right now. See, because of global warming, the northern trade, the sea route will open up, and there's a lot of resources there. Oil, gas, whatnot, fisheries, much more. Okay, Girish Rati says, after the SCO Summit, Mr. Putin, Mr. Modi met secretly off record. No, it was not secretly, it was very publicly. But it was off record, in a car for 45 minutes. Avoiding Beijing's notice. What was so sensitive, perhaps linked to Japan, that needed secrecy? See, when you have a summit in China, and you have, let's say, 20 world leaders, let's say 3 world leaders, then every single thing will be recorded, whether you know it or not. Whichever room you go to, let's say Mr. Putin and Mr. Modi go to a meeting room somewhere, and nobody else is there. Even that is going to be recorded because there's going to be sensors everywhere. The Chinese will have sensors all over the place. They want to know every single word that's being spoken. So when Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin want to have a face-to-face conversation about whatever, the best solution is to go to Mr. Putin's car, which is entirely under Russia's control, and go on a 45-minute ride and then discuss whatever you want to discuss. Even there, the Chinese will try to somehow eavesdrop, but it may not be possible because the Russians will have taken all the possible countermeasures. So what was so sensitive? Well, only Mr. Putin and Mr. Modi know what was sensitive. I don't know if it's linked to Japan. I don't think it. I doubt if it's linked to Japan. I think it's more about India-Russia relations. And maybe about China as well. Maybe there was a discussion about what's the deal with China. Are we going to make some progress, India-China? What can Russia do about this? How does it really stand between Russia and China? And what was the deal with Alaska? All of that stuff, which you don't want the Chinese to know about. Right? So Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin have their own one-to-one relationship, a long-standing relationship. They don't need the Chinese listening to that, to whatever they talk about. So it's good that they had a long discussion, and now we look forward to Mr. Putin visiting India and having further discussions. Siddharth Verma says, isn't it time to move beyond the debunked ideas of P. N. Oak and Praveen Mohan? This is not geopolitics. Anyway, how long will India hold on to such stories instead of embracing facts and moving forward with progress? P. N. Oak, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some of his publications and definitely completely debunkable stuff. Praveen Mohan is doing great work. You may say perhaps that some of the things he says you don't agree with, but some of the stuff, some of the videos he makes are really interesting. So you cannot, because one or two of the ideas may not be entirely something you agree with, doesn't mean that everything he does is bad. I actually have a high regard for Praveen Mohan. Okay? I do. So let's not put P. N. Oak and Praveen Mohan in the same category. Praveen Mohan, I think, is doing great work overall. P. N. Oak, my God, I don't want to comment about P. N. Oak. But anyway, let's discuss geopolitics today, yes? The King Charles says, I'm sorry for all, but how can I save my empire? Well, ask your daddy, Mr. Trump, as to how you can save your empire, King Charles, King Carlos. Okay, we have reached 1 hour, 2 minutes. I'm going to end this in like 5 minutes. Okay, so 2 more questions. Jen says, can we not develop our jet engines and other stuff by reverse engineering existing stuff? You know, even to reverse engineer something, you need a very high level of technological capability. Let's say I give you this phone, a phone, and I tell you to reverse engineer it. Okay, here is the phone. Here it is. Take it, reverse engineer it. What will you do? Will you be able to reverse engineer it? You need a tremendous level of technological know-how to reverse engineer even a phone. To reverse engineer this microphone. To reverse engineer anything, you need a certain amount of technological know-how. Okay? Even if you have the complete blueprint of a jet engine. But if you don't have the metallurgical know-how, then what will you do about it? If you don't have the capacity to manufacture certain ceramics, what will you do about it? You may be able to develop a jet engine with the exact specifications as per the blueprint, but when you run it, the temperatures go so high, your turbine blades just melt away. Then what will you do about it? Right? It's not that easy. So that's the thing. It's pretty difficult. But we should keep on going at it, develop our own jet engines. We have done some progress in it. Just keep at it, right? Project Smiling Buddha says, why do our business houses Pax Americana unlike Chinese? Why our business houses, Pax Americana, unlike Chinese. I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you saying that our business houses are pro-America, unlike the Chinese? It's because India is a deeply mentally colonized country, and because we are a deeply Anglophilic country, and so many Indians have family in the West. So we are kind of invested in the West, and we are very comfortable with the West. So that's why we are different from the Chinese. The Chinese are very proud of being non-Western. We are like, yes, sir, we are Western. That sort of thing. Mahidhar says, is Ibrahim Traoré a Pan-African leader? No, he's not a Pan-African leader thus far. He is the leader of what? Burkina Faso, is it? Or Niger? Niger, is it? Niger. But look, one second. Ibrahim Traoré. He is the Burkina Faso interim president, yes. Is he a Pan-African leader? He could be one. He's a young man, and he has devassalized his country. Of course, when you devassalize your country, you have to align with some powers, and that has to be done. So, yeah. But it's too early to say if he is a Pan-African leader. For that, he will have to achieve much more. But yeah, he has done a commendable job in devassalizing his country and putting his country on the right path of development and not being, a minion of the West. Aryan Kapoor says, what's the best reply to the US and Donald Trump and his minions? The best reply is keep quiet and do your work. Ignore them. The best reply is to ignore them. They want India to respond emotionally. They want our leaders, our politicians to start speaking in the same kind of language they are speaking. Their language is crass. The language Navarro uses and Trump uses is the kind of language you will hear on the streets. Actually, the kind of language Trump uses at times, it's street language. And Navarro is a crass kind of person. A guy who was in jail a year ago. So they want India to respond in that kind of language so that they can tar India with a certain kind of brush. Right? The best reply is to ignore them. Not pick up the phone. Ignore them, do our work, and go and take our business wherever it is welcome. That's the best reply to the US. And the long-term best reply is success. We have to succeed. We have to become a bigger and bigger, larger and larger economy and a more powerful nation. That's the best reply. The best reply is not a verbal reply. It's never a verbal reply. When a bully is bullying you, ignore the bully and do your work. And then become bigger than the bully. Then we'll talk. Come. Ajao. Okay. All right, folks. I think we are done for the day. We have crossed 1 hour, 6 minutes. Okay, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for all the questions. I apologize for the couple of interruptions we had. I don't know what the hell on earth all of that is. But one last question. Okay, one last question. Will this regime change tactic by the US work? Time will tell. They will try their best, and they are really good at this. The Americans do want a regime change in India. All of us need to be aware of this. Okay? The Americans are very serious about a regime change in India, so it's going to be very dangerous the coming days. All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Once again, I apologize for the interruptions, but I hope it was valuable, and I look forward to seeing you in the next live stream. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you all, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care. Keep asking questions. Keep learning. Keep raising your standards. I'll see you soon.